Hi, my name is Adele and I'm a trauma therapist. So this is the second video in a series on the pandemic, and I'm making these videos to support people who are going through a kind of crisis or some sort of depression or anxiety going through lockdown. We've just been inundated with so many people that are dealing with a lot of crises, and I thought it would be time efficient and effective to actually make some videos to give people some ideas of things that they can do. So this video is, in the first video we talked about trauma response and how what a lot of people are actually experiencing is what we call a trauma response. In this video I'm going to be talking about relationships and how you can, kind of signpost and be clearer about managing the stresses and strains and projections within your relationships. So first things first, as human beings, we're not built for lockdown. There's a reason that people that live in solitary confinement go a bit loopy. There's a reason that there's a time period that divers that dive at depth and live in the capsules, they can't do that forever. There's a time limit. They have so much time that they're supposed to do that, and then they need to leave the capsule. Submarine, staff, they can't be in the submarine forever. They actually need to kind of get to the surface and breathe some fresh air, because we're not built for that kind of monotonous Groundhog Day-ness. So lockdowns is incredibly frustrating. Why? Because we have 6 human needs as human beings. First, we have a need for certainty. We have a need for predictability, control, the need to kind of know, this is what my day looks like, this is what my life looks like, this is what I can count on, this is who you are, this is who I am, and this is how everything's going. That need for certainty is really important. Then we have the need for uncertainty, in other words, variety. We have the need to kind of have some fun and spunk and some adventure in our lives, or we tend to get bored. We have a need for significance, the need to feel important, to feel valued, to feel like we're making a difference in what we're doing, or that somebody values our expertise or our work. We have a need for love and connection, a need to kind of, connect with others and feel and receive significance from that perspective, or to have that send and receive thing. So that's why people that are in lockdown on their own really struggling, when there's no kind of send and receive physical, tangible expression of any of that. We have a need for contribution, the ability to actually make a difference in the world, and that feeds our significance again. And then the need for growth, expansion, change. Now, the particular ones that are really, really struggling under lockdown, firstly, uncertainty. Yeah, that's out the window, because now all of a sudden we are in lockdown all the time. We have this very routine, mundane existence that is the same day in and day out, Groundhog Day. That is a real challenge for people. The next is significance. To be feeling significant, we need to be out there doing stuff. We need to be out there kind of moving, shaking, having conversations and networking or talking to people. With lockdown, you are at home on Zoom, and you're not actually able to fulfill some of that need. In addition, you've got love and connection. If you're locked down on your own, or you're in lockdown and you're starting to kind of have issues with your partnership or within your relationship, your love and connection bucket is going to be empty. Uncertainty is also impacted with lockdown, because we don't know day to day, week to week, how the countries are going to change, or how the lockdown rules are going to change, or when this virus and this pandemic is going to end. So these things really impact how we feel, and that impacts how we behave within our relationships. It impacts our stress level. When our human needs are not being met, we're just not great as human beings. And the thing to really get is that when our certainty and uncertainty need isn't met, that's kind of a real foundational level for us as people. That's kind of in the Maslow hierarchy of needs. That's like our big needs that need to be met. And one of the biggest things that gets impacted is we have boxes in our minds where things get allocated for our lives to make sense. This is the kids' routine. This is how they do school. This is how school happens. This is a box that I have for that. When that box gets blown out the water and suddenly we're homeschooling, yeah, that's not great for our mental health, because suddenly the box isn't where it needs to be. So our relationship to ourselves has shifted. The box for our partner goes to work. They leave in the morning. They then do their thing and then they come back at the end of the day. Yeah, that's out the window as well. So now in lockdown, that isn't happening. We now have this person and we're now sitting at the dining room table all doing Zoom calls together. Yeah, that also doesn't work. So, and we have boxes for our leadership of our country. Our leadership must behave like this. This is how I want my leadership to behave. And this is how my friends should behave. This is how my kids should behave. This is how everybody needs to be doing their thing for my life to be stable and to make sense of everything. When you have boxes like that in your life, that means that your locus of control and your sense of certainty is located outside of yourself. You actually feel certain by being dependent on forces outside of yourself, behaving and operating in a completely specific way for yourself to feel stable and secure. This is not working during lockdown. And it's one of the biggest things that you need to shift to get yourself into a position of power and regaining control in your life, so that you're not so wavering based on the wavering nature of the boxes in which people and things and organizations and elements are existing. So give all the boxes a big sand pit around the boxes. You know, it's the same way that they say when you go through a big trauma, you shouldn't make any big changes within 6 months. You also shouldn't make huge assumptions about the boxes needing to be where they are. You need to just let the boxes be where they are currently landing. And if the boxes need big sand pits around them so that we give everything a lot of space within which it operates, so be it. So let go of this need to locate certainty outside of yourself. Start to look at self-soothing mechanisms. Start to look at things that you can do, that you have control over, that soothe you, that is 100% under your remit. You're not dependent on the government to behave in a particular way. You're not dependent on your partner to be in a particular way or to fulfill your human needs. You're not dependent on your children to do exactly what they need to do with the homeschooling. You get your sense of certainty and sense of significance from within yourself. This is what you gift to yourself. Now, if you are struggling with what kind of ideas and things you can do to actually provide that self-soothing mechanism, contact us, email us. We'll send you the list. There's a list of over 200 things that you can try. And, you know, some of them might not tickle your fancy. That's cool. Keep going, go with the list and see if you can find, you want about 7 to 10 things that you can do that soothe yourself. One of the most important things that you can do to soothe yourself is to control the tension within your pelvis. So the way that traumatic response actually works within the body, research has shown that it's actually a lot of the traumatic response starts somatically. It starts within the body. Trauma responses do not start in the brain. So the fact that you are actually feeling anxious or wound up or all stressed right now is a function of your pelvis being super tight. So we know this because of the studies that have been done by people like Stephen Porges with the polyvagal system and the vagus nerve. If you release the tension within your pelvis by basically just closing your eyes and doing an exercise where you imagine all the muscles within your pelvis relaxing, you do this several times a day. You focus on getting lots of exercise so that you can release the tension within your pelvis often. This helps you kind of remain online, because when you are releasing that tension within your pelvis, you're not getting that amygdala trauma response happening that I talked about in video 1. You are in a better position for your sensory cortex to be online, for your cortical functioning to return, and for you to think more creatively and problem-solvingly about the issues that you face. So in our relationships, don't be so dependent on everyone around you to kind of make you feel better. Focus more on what can I control, what is under my control. How can I meet my human need for certainty? Good, I can do all these self-soothing exercises. How can I meet my human need for variety? Okay, well, I need to be a bit more creative because we're under lockdown, but I could try a walk in the park, or I can drive a little bit to get to somewhere else for my walk. I can actually try an online class. I can do something else that adds some variety in my life. I can have a picnic on the floor of the lounge. We can take a picnic and we can go and sit in the garden. We can build a fort in the lounge and have a tent camping experience in the lounge. Yes, it takes creativity, but think of things you can do to meet that uncertainty and variety need for yourself. Significance. How can you meet these needs of significance? Get focused on a project that is under your control, that has a beginning, a middle, and an ending. You are in control of it. It's your thing. You're doing it, and you own it. Okay? And then with love and connection, schedule lots of things where you can connect with people virtually. Okay? So if you are unable to connect with people physically, connect with people virtually and find ways to continue that. If you need ideas, give us, send us a message. We can prompt you with some ideas and things that we have offered to other clients. But ultimately, let go of these boxes where you have located your human needs being met outside of yourself. In the next video, I'm going to be talking about relationships and projections. So stay tuned for that and subscribe if you want to hear more. Till then, take care.